Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein is written entirely in the first person, and for good reason. Like many other Gothic novels of its time, it delves deeply into the inner psyche of an individual character in a way that only a first person narrative can do. I love novels from this period for that reason. What's great is that we not only get first person narration from the scientist, Victor Frankenstein, but there's also a section in the middle of the book where we get direct first person narration from the creature that Victor Frankenstein creates. If we look at the text through a post colonial lens, the creature can be thought of as a subaltern figure, a figure so marginalized as to be practically invisible. Post-colonial theorist Gayatri Chakraborty Spivak distinguishes the subaltern from other oppressed groups. A factory worker, for instance, might be exploited, but he has a union to speak for him. A subsistence farmer in a remote region, on the other hand, has no such platform. He is a subaltern. To be heard, the farmer must translate his experience into the language of his oppressor. Or well meaning intellectuals may drown out his lived experience with their own theories and intellectualisms. In Frankenstein, we get raw first hand accounts of both the scientist Victor Frankenstein and his creation, a figure detested by mankind, a figure whom in post colonial theory would be seen as other or even subaltern. And so, in a sense, the subaltern is finally given a chance to speak in this novel. But notice, he still speaks the language of Victor, the man that he views as his primary oppressor. More generally, the creature sees all of humanity as his oppressor because of the way humans treat him as ugly, undesirable, dangerous, and execrable. Every human who sees him feels an immediate, violent urge to extinguish him. The creature exists in a strange paradox. On one hand, he's very visible. He's literally a towering giant. On the other hand, he is invisible because his humanity is never recognized. He even begins to view himself through Victor's eyes, describing himself as ugly because he has no other language for self description, which is a feature of subalternality. His creator is Victor Frankenstein, but in a sense, his creator is humanity as a whole, which partly explains why the creature has a vendetta not only against Victor, but against humanity overall. In a sense, the monster was created not the day Victor brought the creature into existence, but rather the monster was created over time, through humanity's constant maltreatment of the creature, and most importantly, his own creator's abhorrence and abandonment of him. How did this monster come into being? Dr. Victor Frankenstein was driven by more than just scientific curiosity. He possessed a desperate hunger to distinguish himself. He expressly states that glory is more important to him than monetary wealth. And this makes sense. Think about why we consume stories. We read literature and watch movies to see heroes doing glorious things, like rescuing humanity, not to see how people get rich. Even in a rags to riches story, the money is secondary. What actually captivates us is a hero's ability to defy a stifling system that most people would feel powerless against. It is that quest for glory, the chance to stand out singularly within the human race, that truly intrigues us. And it's that same fire that ultimately consumes Victor. This is why Victor is drawn more to the ancient sciences like alchemy rather than the modern natural sciences like physics or biology. Alchemy promised the secrets of immortality. Modern science seems hell bent on debunking those dreams as mere pseudoscience. To Victor, the ancient alchemical sciences were glorious, while the modern natural sciences are dreadfully austere. Victor initially sets out to distinguish himself and become something of a savior to the human race. However, in creating this creature, he feels he's ended up doing the exact opposite of what he set out to achieve. He's repulsed by the creature the very moment it comes to life, and he immediately flees from it. But this is a classic Gothic tale after all, so Victor can never truly flee the monster any more than the narrator of Edgar Allan Poe's Telltale Heart can flee the beating heart in his floorbeds. The monster haunts Victor everywhere. It's like they say of Bruno in Encanto, he sees your dreams and feasts on your screams. The monster is a part of Victor, and a part of all of us in a way. As humans, we often recoil from our animal nature and desire to set ourselves apart from other animals. We're disgusted by body hair, by body fluids like sweat, mucus, and excrement, and by anything that reminds us of our own biology. Victor takes this one step further, desiring to set himself apart from all other humans as well. This is what glory is, after all, to set yourself apart from other people. Yet, in his attempt to transcend humanity, Victor creates an object that reveals everything it means to be human in all its complexity. The creature embodies, on the one hand, man's mortality, man's animality, man's greatest weaknesses, and on the other hand, man's highest virtues as well. Because the monster is, in some ways, more human than Dr. Frankenstein himself. He has a deep love of beauty and virtue, and a respect for mankind, while also resenting mankind's inability to see and love him. It reminds me, as so many things do, of Hamlet's soliloquy. What a piece of work is man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable! In action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god, the beauty of the world, the paragon of the animals, and yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Terror is Victor's reaction to what he thinks the creature is, a natural and understandable reaction, but it wasn't his only option. There was a different path, a path of compassionate curiosity. The act of bringing new life into the world is a beautiful thing, and Victor had the opportunity to nurture that beauty rather than turning it into a nightmare. That's exactly what the November 2025 Guillermo del Toro adaptation of the novel explores. It deviates significantly from the novel's original plot and offers its own reimagination altogether. Unlike in the novel, in the film, Victor doesn't flee the creature immediately. He stays with the creature in its early days, yet treats it with cruelty. Victor chains up the monster and yells at him. Victor's not quite repulsed by the creature the way he is in the book, but is rather annoyed by the creature's inability to articulate anything except the word Victor. He wonders whether there are any intelligent thoughts in the monster's head at all. Victor, you see, wanted to create something intelligent. Elizabeth, who in the novel is completely oblivious to the creature's existence, meets the creature very early on in the film and is appalled by Victor's harsh treatment of him. When Victor mentions that the monster does not have the quote, spark of intelligence I had intended, Elizabeth says, quote, perhaps not as you understand, bringing us back to the concept of subalternality. Unlike in the novel, in the film, the creature cannot initially express himself in ways that humans would find comprehensible. The subaltern cannot speak. By saying perhaps not as you understand it, Elizabeth is momentarily throwing Victor off his assumed air of supremacy. There may be things the creature can see that Victor can't. She points out that she saw pain in the creature's eyes, and that pain is a sign of intelligence. One really thoughtful choice in the film was to cast the talented, intelligent, well regarded, and classically handsome Jacob Elordi as the creature. While the creature in the film is as sickly green as in the novel, the audience knows this is the classically handsome Jacob Elordi. While the creature is unable to speak or articulate his thoughts or regulate his emotions, we know he's being played by an actor who, by the nature of his profession, must have stellar articulation skills and an exceptional awareness of his own emotions. This helps us feel the creature's pain. He has so much to say, but no way to say it outside the language of his own oppressor. Intelligence and language are one way we distinguish ourselves from other animals, but they're also a way we distinguish ourselves from other people and determine ourselves superior or inferior to others. We may even judge entire civilizations by their ability to produce things that we define as signs of intelligence. But these metrics are determined entirely on our own terms, without considering there may be other ways of seeing and explaining the world that we can't understand. There are so many other aspects of the novel I couldn't get to, including the way it depicts human anxiety in a very real way. But it's a novel I recommend everyone read at least once.